Hey, everybody. So I know some of you guys are having problems with narcissistic people. They're in our lives. We can't help it. It could be family members, friends, ex-boyfriends, or current boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses that you're still married to, or ex-spouses, or it could also be your child. It could be a lot of people that are around us that are narcissists. And narcissistic stuff is not only psychological, it's also spiritual. And I'm going to explain this, but I'm also going to give you guys a binding spell that works. And in the Bible, it talks about binding spirits. And this is pretty powerful. So when I explain how this works, I want you to get ready and get a pen and paper. And I'm going to talk about a story or so, and then I'm going to explain how to use this binding spell and how it works. My name is Paul Casino. I am a certified medium. Yeah, I'm also known as BigSkymedium. I've taught mediumship classes for over 5 years, done free radio readings over 7. I've read in front of 800 people in a live audience. I've read from people over Montana, small groups, and a lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom readings, read for people from all over the world as well. And I've had this my entire life. It runs in my family. So let me explain to you what a narcissist is. Spiritually, a narcissist, there's other spirits that can reside in a person, and it's not just one. And if you have a narcissistic person inside around you, you're going to understand what I'm talking about, because these people always have weird knowledge, just like another person that's talking through them, correct? And so I'm going to talk really about my stepmom, for instance. I don't get along with her, and we used to get along, but it's a long story, so I'm not going to get into the details of what she did. I mean, it's a lot of drama there, but I had to divorce myself from my family in Arizona, my dad's side of the family. And I just recently met my dad at that time. I was like in my 40s when I met him, and I met her, and she would always call me and, and just want to get to know me, that whole situation, always trying to be nice. The weird thing is that when she used to talk to me on the phone, I kept getting visions of like a snake head or a lizard head. I never thought about it. I really didn't. I didn't think much of it. Well, eventually, my stepmom, she got me and my dad against each other. And that's just what narcissistic people do. I think she was just jealous of our relationship. And now we don't talk. I think it's gotten to the point where things were said between me and my dad. And yeah, and I don't think we're ever going to get back, to have that relationship we had before. And I think that's what she wanted, actually. So it was like for about 4 months, she was in my head and I could not get her out. And I don't know why. Why is she in my head? Why is she stuck in my head? And I knew it was spiritual, because why is she always there? I connected with my guides, and he told me, you need to learn to bind spirit, because the Bible talks about binding spirit. Um, and he told me that this is only temporary. It's not like permanent, because you're going to have to remember this, because you're going to have to rinse and repeat. Eventually, she's going to move on to somebody else. She needs like another victim. So just keep doing what you're doing. And when she keeps messing you with your head, you keep repeating this phrase, and eventually, and she'll leave you alone for a while. Well, I did it, and she totally stopped. It stopped. There was nothing. I felt more freer than ever. And it was like that. Maybe 6 months went by. She came back in my head like that again. I repeated it in my head, this phrase again, nothing. So you have to understand that when you're around a narcissist, it's like they have these hooks that are attached to us, and it's crazy, because that they'll always find a way of coming back. They'll always find a ways, either spiritually or other ways, to get back to you. Some of you guys are getting, you go to bed at night, and you're getting nightmares. You can't understand why you're getting all these weird nightmares. Some of it might have to do with that person that's a narcissist. It might be something darker, malevolent in your dreams as well. Um, Understand that when we get rid of a narcissist, what I found is that like 2 or 3 come along. That's why I know it's also spiritual. They might come out of the woodwork, like family or friends, or an ex might come by and call you, or you might run into them. Be careful with that. It's stuff they communicate in another realm. They know things. Okay, so be careful with that. Here's another quick story. I was working at not working. I go to a bookstore and I do readings there once a week. And this was years ago. And I sat down in front of a lady. She looked disheveled. She looked like something bad has happened to her. And and I did a reading, and the spirit guide told me she was dating a narcissist, and she was upset and she was crying, and she goes, "That's what I'm here for." And I gave her this information about how to bind the narcissist. And I told her, remember, it's only temporary. Be careful with it. She was grateful for what she got. So I would say about 4 or 5 years after that, she came to me, and this time she looked happy. Her hair was done. She was had makeup on. She sat down in front of me and she goes, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "No." She goes, "You saved my life." I go, "I didn't." I go, "I'm just a messenger." And I go, "Can you explain what happened?" And she goes, "I sat down right here a few years ago in front of you, and I explained my situation with my husband, and you gave me information, like you gave me a binding spell, and I used it on him, and it worked." And I go, "What happened exactly?" She told me that she was laying on her couch taking a nap, and she felt somebody on top of her, and she woke up, and it was her husband going like this, like ready to pound on her. And so what she did is she repeated that in her head, the binding spell that I gave to her, and when she did it, she said that she felt like wet marks on her face. She opened her eyes, and her husband was crying, and he was apologizing to her, which is really rare because narcissists don't apologize. So something must have jumped out of her or something. This is my opinion. So she was brave enough that day. She got packed up, she got all her stuff, and she moved out because she knew exactly that was what the truth was. There was something that was residing in her husband that wasn't him. So she was always grateful, and she said, "I just want to come to you and say thank you for allowing me to have to talk about this, because that binding spell that you gave to me actually did really work, and um, I use it all the time, and I use it on other people, and I give this information to other people as well." And so, as for me, as a medium, I know a lot of you guys are going through this with these people. That could be your coworkers, again, your spouses, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, your parents. It could be anybody. These people are not, there's two sides of them, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know what I'm talking about. You say no to them, they have tantrums like a little 5-year-old. They're always causing trouble, always thinking ahead of what kind of evil and schemes they're going to do. So this what I'm about to do when I give this information to you guys about this binding spell. I want you to be careful with it. I don't want you to ever say it out loud in front of a narcissist. This is very important because if you say this out loud in front of a narcissist, it could be very bad for you. It could be physical harm, or they can take your life. And I don't mean to say that, but narcissists do not like people finding out about them, and especially when it's something spiritual. And how I'm going to explain to this pretty soon is I'm going to explain how to do this the most safest possible way. But never ever say this out loud in front of a narcissist, because they will go unhinged in a heartbeat. Also, I want you guys to get ready, and I want you to get a pen and paper, and I want you to write exactly what I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. I want you to write down every word for word, and I want you to keep this in a safe place where the narcissist cannot find it. Keep it in your Bible. Keep it somewhere locked up in your in the attic, or in a closet buried under books. I don't care what it is. Just keep it away from the narcissist, because what I'm going to give you is going to help you, and it's going to give you more sanity, more freedom, more peace of mind, that you're not going to have to deal with these evil people anymore, lying to you, manipulating you, hurting you, getting people against you, all that drama that they like to create. And they're always, of course, they're always the victim. It's never you. We all know how they work. So I'm going to start another video, and I want you to pay attention to the next video and get a pen and paper, get it ready, because you need to take this information down, because this is going to help you. All right.